nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll. That's a hate group. That's a hate group.
Now, tell me how you really feel, Scott Adams. Dilbert creator, Scott Adams, you know Dilbert, that comic strip. Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, recently had some comments on his YouTube show talking about how, based upon this poll that he read, this Rasmussen poll that talked about how 26% of black people disagree with the statement about white people. And he used that to say that white people need to stay away from black people because black people are a hate group.
You know, nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll. That's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population. Because unfortunately, there's a high correlation between the density. This is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white. It's over. Don't even think it's worth trying. Totally not trying. And there we go. You didn't expect that today, did you? But those who don't want to focus on education, you just need to get away from them. Just get as much distance as you can. That's my recommendation. And I'm also really sick of seeing video after video of black Americans beating up non-black citizens.
While I disagree with that sentiment, we can't lump all black people into a group just like we shouldn't lump all white people into a group. I disagree with that. And also I disagree with that because of the sentiment. See, you have to understand something. The people that want to destroy this nation, that want to use race as a wedge issue to destroy this nation, are applauding what Scott Adams had to say. They're applauding it because they're using this as an example to show that, hey, America is still racist. Look at this white man saying this racist stuff. But they don't understand all the constant battering that white men get over their head by telling them they're evil, that they are the reason for all the ills of this land, that white men are the bane of America, that it wasn't for white men we won't have these issues in America. I mean, look at this video right here talking about white supremacy.
They're real good at violence.
Violence. Genocide.
It's like stealing people's lives just because they feel like it. If you are white and you know this is happening and you say nothing, then you're a killer too.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Insecurity, pretending,
Fear. Being fearful of nothing.
being ignorant.
Blame.
Letting their egos control their every move.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Oppression.
Gaslighting.
Lack of empathy.
Intellectualizing oppression.
Did I say oppression? What exactly are white people superior at?
Taking what's not theirs.
Our ideas.
Copycatting.
Gentrification.
Appropriating things that do not belong to them.
Taking over other people's cultures and making you believe that they invented it.
Maybe they're thinking of it as repurposing. It's like recycle and repurpose.
As my grandma would say, them white folk, they'll take it if you don't copyright it. They are very good at destruction of land, destruction of people, destruction of humanness.
Republican, whether you're Democrat, whether you're conservative, like white people are really good at upholding white supremacy.
How about claiming that, they are actually a whole separate race, when actually white DNA comes from the black female?
So what exactly are white people superior at?
Honey, lying, stealing, and cheating.
Manipulation. Withholding information.
Lying.
Telling lies.
What are white people superior at?
See, all of these things have resulted in a backlash against cultural Marxism, against what some people call woke. White men, heterosexual white men, are starting to revolt. This is a revolt by heterosexual white men. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, the canary in the coal mine, I believe. Because a lot of white men are fed up. They feel that they are being unfairly tarred and feathered by the cultural Marxists in this land. They really feel that way. And so Scott Adams is probably saying a lot of things that a number of white people want to say, but they're too afraid to say it. They really are. And then in the black community, we bought into the poison of this cultural Marxism, this wokeness, so to speak, and it's caused us to step away from our biblical foundation, to step away from the truth that even Don Lemon espoused about 10 years ago.
Black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're not doing this, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking about you. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male-on-male prisons. One with the really low pants. You get my point? Number 4 now is the N-word. By promoting the use of that word when it's not germane conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the masser intended, acting like a nigger? Now, number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids are acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. A high school dropout makes on average $19,000 a year. A high school graduate makes $28,000 a year. A college graduate makes $51,000 a year. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues.
We have to recognize that this whole cultural Marxism, this anti-whiteness, this anti-racist rhetoric, this poison that's being pumped into our children and pumped into the national veins and arteries of America is destructive. And so things like Scott Adams, the things that he says, they're wrong. I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood, all black neighborhood in Mississippi. We took care of our neighborhood. It was a middle-class neighborhood. So it's not a racial deal. It's not. Our neighborhood was clean, the yards were kept, every house was pristine. We took care of our neighborhood because we had value. We took ownership of our community. We took ownership of it. Black community had pride, had ownership, had value in things that were theirs. Due to the entrance of this whole victim mentality that people are victims, it has slowly eroded that agency. It slowly eroded that ownership. It slowly eroded the community feeling that was in the black community, and it's replaced it with these high-rise prisons that are called apartments, that are called community projects in these inner cities, and it's caused black people to not value life, to not value things, to not value property. And it plays right into the hands of the cultural Marxists. So while I disagree with Scott Adams, Black people are not a hate group. People hate people. We can't lump each other based upon race. While I disagree with that statement, I understand where it's coming from, because the seeds that have been sown by the culture of Marxists are starting to take root, and we must push back against that, or we will have more and more of these examples coming forth to the point to where America will be truly divided.